Your first team, putting your first team first. What do you mean by that? Your first team, your second team. I've seen a lot and I've done it myself. Let me tell you a story. I was managing director among 6 managing directors, working to the CEO and the CFO in an organization. And the CFO particularly liked to play us off against each other. And one week I was a hero and the next week I was a zero in comparison to the other managing directors on that board. So they played us up against each other, depending on how our numbers were, all on financial terms. And there's no doubt about it that then when they said, you've got to collaborate with each other, help each other, share resources, that kind of stuff, give best ideas to each other. Why would I do that? Because if they do well, I'm a zero. And if I do well, I'm a hero and they're a zero. So it made us competitive. And I'm not proud of that. Looking back, I was appalled at what I did. And we never became a first team. My first team was my own team, my precious, my little ring, like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, my ring, my team. And everything was about my team, which I saw as my priority, because I was in charge of that one. And that was what I was being rated and graded on and rewarded and given a bonus on. But actually, my first team was the CEO's team, the one with my fellow managing directors. But I didn't see it that way, and it wasn't rewarded that way. The metrics, the balanced scorecard wasn't rewarding collaboration. It was rewarding the fact that we individually did well with our own teams. It doesn't work well. Now I've been teaching people about your first team. It's a concept that many people have used around this idea. The first team is the team you report into, not your own team. That's your second team. The real priorities should be to your peers in your first team. And if you get that right, you take an owner's mindset, which we'll also talk about later, that you see that team being the one that can perform the best, that you'll share with your peers resources, your best people. You'll have on secondment to them. They'll lend people to you, best ideas. You'll give time for them, and you'll be close as a team. You'll disagree strongly, but you won't be disagreeable with each other. And you certainly won't be competing with them. You've got to compete with other organizations, not with your peer group, because otherwise the organization will never grow, never thrive, because you're all looking after just your own area. And you go, well, I'm fine. Wasn't my problem. My team did my bit. It was them over them and them. And so you start being hugely critical, competitive, and not thinking at the level above you. So your first team should be the team you report into, and your second team, your second priority team, is your own team. It's a really important concept. I've seen this work so well recently in 2 particular organizations. One was part of the Nestle empire, massive chocolate empire. And it was with their research and development team, who were from all over the world. We had an offsite, we came together, and I brought up this concept for the first team. We started to work on it and talk about it and have sessions on it. And you could see people thinking, really? I've never thought it that way. I've just thought that I do my own specialism. And as long as that does fine, I don't have to share anything with anybody else. And it's certainly not the team I'm reporting into. But when they got that, they all collaborated far better. The performance of the whole R&D team globally went right up. They loved that idea of the first team. The next one was doing an offsite recently with a team in an offsite in Portugal. They were a global telecoms company. And because of this concept of your first team and building trust between each other, sharing personal stories, using some of the techniques of problem solving together, and listening to each other and not trying to score one over on each other, and building psychological safety, CEO said, this is the first time I feel this is my first team. But actually, really what his first team was the team he had to report into, the global one. However, the members of that, his first team, or rather their first team, really felt close. And he gathered their ideas, he listened to them. So they were behaving as a first team. He now needs to take that and use it globally with the other individual CEOs of digital specialisms on a global scale, which isn't yet going on, but I'm certain it will. So your first team, it's a really important concept. It's the team you report into. Of course, you're going to care about your own team, but don't see that as your first priority. Think bigger, think globally, think about scaling up the organization. Good luck with that.